Blizzard of Oz, and
Hmm.
40 years on from that tour and
Yeah,
those tours
yeah,
with yourself and Randy and Tommy
yeah,
Aldridge.
yeah.
Um, what does that feel like looking back on those tours that they've slipped into the kind of mythology of heavy metal?
Well, it was really interesting because you were talking about the Hired Gun movie,
Yeah.
and one thing that most of us, and I say most of us, is because most of the people that were interviewed in the movie started out as hired guns and that were mentor, like let's say Ray Parker Jr., mentored by Stevie Wonder,
Hmm.
and myself mentored by Ozzy, Jason Hook mentored by Alice Cooper,
Yep.
and the list goes on. It's a great opportunity to really experience and gain that knowledge of what the music industry is all about
Mm.
before you set out to create your own group that you're an
Yeah.
equal member of. Whether with Ray Parker was radio, and then as a solo artist, with my case it was Quiet Riot, Metal Health.
Mm.
And I say Metal Health because I was always also a part of the Randy Rhoads version of the
Yep.
band, but we're talking about Metal Health version of the band. So I learned so much. About 90% of everything that I've learned in the music industry, I learned on that tour, being mentored by Ozzy and Randy too. He mentored me
Yeah.
because he already been recording. He recorded those albums. He had been on the road with Ozzy even before I joined the band. The Blizzard of Oz band had gone on tour in England, and I believe in
Yeah.
in the UK also. I'm sorry, in Europe, some dates. I'm not completely sure about that because, of course, I wasn't there.
Yeah.
you know, but they had definitely done a bunch of shows. So Randy had that under his belt. He has spent like a year and a half with Ozzy at least by the time that I joined the band. So there was an adapting period
Mm.
when I
Yeah.
joined the band. Because Ozzy and Sharon, they're very unique individuals, and they do things a little bit different than the
Mm.
average, uh, band leaders and manager and so on. So it was kind of like Randy took me through the process of it and says, it has nothing to do with you. This is what they do, and he really helped me,
Yeah.
completely. And then later on, I was able to turn, to return the same favor, but with Brad Gillis when he joined the
Yeah.
band.
Actually, I was
And
gonna.
I'm
Oh,
sorry.
no, sir. Well, what I was gonna ask actually, what you just led on to was you did the tours, of course, and the final one you did resulted in the Speak of the Devil live album,
Yeah,
which
that
was
wasn't
sort of.
really a tour. That was actually we finished the tour with Brad, and then we went in a couple of weeks later. We went in to record
Mm.
the Speak of the Devil, which I believe in England is Talk of
Talk
the
of the Devil.
Devil.
Yeah.
Talk of the Devil, yeah. Yeah. So Speak of the Devil, the Black Sabbath re-recordings
Yeah.
live, and I immediately left the band officially to join the Metal Health version of Quiet Riot after I finished those live recordings.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's funny
Yes.
because sorry to interrupt you.
No,
It's
no, no.
funny because that album, I mean, it came out of obviously tough circumstances with Randy having passed away and, the contractual obligation with Ozzy's
Mhm.
health and all that kind of thing. But now it seems to be considered by a lot of fans as a real favorite and a great record. And, it seems to have weathered really well. So I don't know. It's a funny one. Do you remember the kind of the build up to those shows, especially with Brad Gillis and Tommy working through the songs?
Yeah, I
Just
mean, it was a long buildup because
mm,
that there was talk about recording that, and it went through phases. It
hmm.
was supposed to be a different show. It was going to be like also videoed with Randy. The original talk was with Randy. Randy did
Yeah,
not want to be a part of that, and then right before he passed away, he agreed to do it with some you know conditions
yeah,
that he wanted to set, and so they were negotiating that back and forth, and then he passed away. Uh, but So we did two things with Brad. We did another thing called Speak of the Devil, which is the live version of the Diary of a Madman tour recorded
Mm.
at Irvine in California, which was the last show that we did for the Diary of a Madman tour in the continental US, because we went to Hawaii after that, but that's not the mainland, you know.
Mm.
And so we did that show, and it broadcast on MTV Halloween 1982, a few months later. So that was just us performing live the Diary of a Madman tour that we have been doing. And then we came back and we did these another thing called Speak of the Devil, which is the re-recording
Yeah.
of the Black Sabbath songs. So it was a long process. You know, people say, "Oh, how come there's no videos?" You know, with Randy, and so that was a plan. That was a
Yeah.
definite plan. But Randy died. You know, you don't foresee. Well, let's shoot it this week because you
Yeah.
know somebody's going to die next week. You just don't know. You know,
Mm. Yeah.
and so so basically, yeah, it was a long process, and there was some changes to it just because it was just going to be one rather than
Mm.
the two things, you know, the live show with at Irvine, and then the re-recordings at the Ritz. You know, that
Yeah.
just things just evolve as out of necessity.
Yeah.